Behold, the humble Bugout bag, or let's just call him Bob for short. But has Bob's day come and gone? Let's talk about that. Ever since the concept of a prepping lifestyle has gone mainstream, the Bugout bag has been the go-to symbol for being prepared and surviving in the face of disaster. But is it really all that it's cracked up to be? Has its day come and gone? A lot of experts are starting to say that a Bugout bag is not the right way to go. And part of me agrees with that. So let's talk about that for a minute. Before you Bugout bag superfans start dropping negative comments down below, hang on for a minute, stick with me. We're gonna talk about this. Let's talk like civilized adults. Now, it's not like you guys don't know what this is about, but for those who might have clicked on this not really understanding the concept, the idea of a Bugout bag is to have an easily accessible bag stored somewhere at your home that is filled with items that will help you to survive in the face of disaster. Things like food, water preparation, tools to help with whatever you might encounter, maybe even things to occupy your mind like games or books. But more and more experts are starting to say that we need to get away from the concept of the Bugout bag and explore other options. And the reason for that is that a Bugout bag is only part of a program. It's never meant to be an end-all be-all to your disaster planning. But so many people dump everything they've got into that one bag. We're literally putting all of our eggs in one basket. So first off, let's talk about the pros of having a Bugout bag. In the event of a disaster, it's always a good idea to have some things handy in the event that you do, for whatever reason, just have to hit the door. And by taking the time to put this thing together beforehand and have it ready and evaluate the things that you're using, you have an advantage over other people that wait until the disaster actually happens before they start to act. But that's really where the benefit ends. So let's talk about the other side of this. What are the negatives of focusing so heavily on a Bugout bag? First off, if that's all you've got, then that's all you've got. When you get to the bottom of your supplies in that Bugout bag, you're done. And let's face it, you have to be able to carry every bit of this in something that will fit on your back. You could pack nothing but storable food in your backpack and still only have enough to survive for 2 to 3 weeks. And that's if you had nothing else at all in your pack. So now we have to consider the fact that, of course, we can't live like that. There have to be other things in that pack. There's got to be room for other stuff. You need the ability to start fires, which means you need matches, lighters, ferro rods, all that kind of stuff. You probably need some kind of small tinder to get your fire started. You have to carry ways to process water, whether it be purification tablets or water filter. You have to carry something to carry that water in. You have to carry something to prepare your food with, to boil water so that you can make hot food. Once you start throwing all of this gear into a pack, it becomes heavier and heavier to the point where it limits how much ground you can cover in a day. The temptation, of course, when you're preparing your pack is to keep piling things onto it, strapping the additional packs on the outside of it, using the MOLLE system to attach multiple kits, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you suddenly realize, I can't even fit this thing on my back, much less carry it anywhere. Now let's look at another side to that. If you're not consistently changing out the contents of your pack, you're doing yourself a disservice. Do you have a winter setup? Do you have a summer setup? What kind of shelter do you have in each of those kits? What kind of sleep system do you have in each of those kits? Because one is not going to be appropriate for the other. You can't take a winter cold weather survival setup with a shelter and a sleep system and have it work for you in the summer. You have to have something with better airflow. You have to have the ability to cover up, but not necessarily smother yourself. And just the opposite in cold weather. You're not going to be able to take a single season tent and use it as a viable shelter. You're not going to be able to take a 50-degree sleeping bag and survive in freezing weather. You know, water filters have come a long way and now are a staple for everyone's survival gear. The problem with a water filter is while it allows you to process thousands of gallons of water, if it's cold outside, if it's below freezing, and you use that water filter and it freezes, it is destroyed. You now went from something that could process incredible amounts of life-sustaining water to something that becomes a single-use tool. You might as well throw it away at that point. So what are you going to do then? Your filter is now useless. What else do you have? Do you have other ways to purify your water? And how do you know that you're packing the right tools for the job? Your tools need to be lightweight, but they need to be effective. And sometimes super lightweight tools won't do the job when it comes to things like processing firewood. There's a lot to consider when you're prepping gear for your Bugout bag. The real issue that comes with a Bugout bag is, as I said earlier, it's meant to be part of a process or a program. The idea being that you have a predetermined place that you're going. You can't just grab a bug out bag and hit the road and hope for the best. The concept of the bug out bag was that you have some place to bug out to. And this bag is designed to get you there. If you don't have a destination that you have set up in advance, a place where you have stocked storable food, where you have supplies to take care of drinking water, where you have the ability to have fuel for the things that you need, like cooking and transportation, then you have no need for a bug out bag. If you are not an expert survivalist, if you do not know how to live off the land, then having a bug out bag is pointless without some place to land. More and more survival experts are telling people that bugging in is a better plan than bugging out. It's not always going to be a perfect solution, but it's a safer option starting out. For starters, in a disaster, more people are going to be fleeing residential areas and cities. Do you really want to be caught up in that on the way out the door? Or maybe let everybody else clear the path, and then when the time is right, you can have safe passage. If you're spending time and money purchasing storable food and setting up your preps and storing up drinking water, why would you abandon all that at the first sign of trouble? The idea of even doing that is so that you'll have it when the time comes. So if you don't have a secondary location and all of your stuff is going into storage at your house, it makes no sense to leave it behind unless you're left with no other choice. There are so many better things that you can focus your time and attention on than a bug out bag. Should you have something like this? Sure, why not? It's a great idea to have a kit that's set up and ready to go, but it doesn't need to be your sole focus. Get your kit together, get your alternating supplies and put them in the same place so that it's easy to swap them out when the seasons change. Spend your time focusing on other things. Focus on things like a get-home bag, a bag that you keep in your vehicle in the event that all of this happened while you're at work or while you're on the road and you have to get back to your family and your supplies, and the safety of that shelter that you've been preparing at home. Maybe set yourself up with an inch bag. It's something that's an absolute last-ditch effort for survival, but at the point when you'd have to use something like this, it's all gone in the toilet already anyway. Set up your car as a survival shelter. If you don't know how to do that, I'm going to put a link in the description box below on 2 videos that I did on vehicle EDC, or everyday carry. It's some pointers on how you can use the spaces in your vehicle to stockpile things that you might need in the event that you're on the road during a disaster. Hey, if you stayed with this video so far, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and hit that notification bell so you'll know when the videos drop. So where are you on the concept of bug out bag? Is it something you've been thinking about doing? Is it something that you've been thinking about maybe moving away from? Or are you a hardcore bug out bag enthusiast? I would love to hear from some people that maybe disagree with what I'm saying here. I'm always open to mature debate on a topic like this because I am not an expert. I am not that guy that thinks I know everything about everything. This is my journey and I'm sharing it with people. But if you disagree with what I'm saying, absolutely check in and let me know that. As long as everybody's respectable, we'll have a good conversation about this. So really what this all boils down to is this. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't make everything in your preps about your bug out bag, because if you do, you're going to find out it's more limiting than empowering. It's not the answer to all of the woes that you'll be facing in the event that you actually have to strap that thing on one day and head out the door. It requires a lot of thought. It requires a lot of money. There are probably hundreds of thousands of videos on YouTube about setting up a bug out bag, so we won't go into all the details of how to do that, but go ahead and look at that. I've got a couple here. I did one with my daughter, the amazing Scarlett, and we set up one for her babies when they were very young, and there are reasons to have these kind of preps. Don't make this the only tool in your toolbox. Be prepared for whatever can happen, but start off using your head and asking, is hitting the road at the first sign of disaster really the best way to go? Thanks for sticking around through this video. I hope you learned something that will help you along the way. If you did, leave me a comment and tell me about it. I love to hear from viewers. Over the time I've been running this channel, you guys have provided me so much useful information and great feedback, and the words of encouragement that I continue to get from everybody absolutely keep me driving forward on this channel. So until the next video, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. And we'll see you around.